Good evening and welcome to the Star Chamber Show live podcast. It is a great Wednesday evening here in Lexington, Kentucky for episode number 496. And boy, do we have a good show for you tonight. It's going to be a great one, and really excited about tonight's guest, who we will be getting to after our opening segment. And joining me in the co-hosting chair tonight here in a minute or two is the lovely, the vivacious, the audacious, and the loquacious Holly Phillippe. She'll be coming up here in just a few moments. I'm watching for her right now, folks, as we get ready for these big winter storms that they say are heading our way here in central Kentucky. Yeah, we're supposed to get about a foot of snow dumped on us in a few days, so we're getting ready for it. And we just hope it's not the ice variety and long power outages, but we will definitely make announcements on all Star Chamber Show channels if that somehow affects next week's show. But yeah, all is clear tonight, so no worries. And we're going to be on here. We won't be doing too much weather reporting because I'm sure you guys have heard a lot about that. And it looks like the first person in the chat room tonight is the one and only award-winning screenwriter, author, and awesome podcaster, DL Hearn Moon. Yes. And one of these days, Dwan, we will have prizes for the first person and sometime. We're not quite up to getting that fancy yet, but we're working on it. And of course, the Star Chamber Show is affiliated with the Imaginarium Convention. We are the official podcast of the convention, and as such, we will keep you up to date on all the happenings. New editions every week on Imaginarium. And yes, 2026 has certainly gotten kicked off to a big start. Yeah, the traffic has been crazy on the site. And like I said, just looking like it's going to be an amazing year with the headliners we have and everything else. But yeah, just in the last week, we do have a lot of new additions to report to you. So that's kind of exciting, and I'll get underway with that right now. First, I'll go over the new guest additions. We have several new panelists that have been announced in the past week, and we welcome back author, editor, comic creator, screenwriter, and story coach, Jerry Fay Maynard. And I'm so glad to have Jerry back. There was another event that was conflicting with ours the last couple of years, and I was hoping that Jerry would be able to make it back to Imaginarium, and this year she will. So this is great news. And also coming with her for the first time to Imaginarium is author, editor, publisher, screenwriter, and filmmaker Scott McMahon. And you definitely want to meet Scott. He's a great guy, does excellent work with his press. He's also a really, really top-notch screenwriter, filmmaker. Definitely a great guest to have. We also welcome to Imaginarium for the first time author and bookstore owner, J.M. Clark, and I can't wait to meet him. Yeah, he definitely has a he has it is a cool store name. He calls it Tome and Novelties, and he spells novelties Novelteas, novelties. So I'm assuming that he sells some tea in the bookstore, but it's up there in Cincinnati, Ohio. So we'll be getting some more information like that. I'll probably be hopefully trying to get him onto the show, because I definitely would like to talk to him about the bookstore and his writing and everything else. Then we also have screenwriter, podcaster, and filmmaker Brian Haas, who is an Imaginarium favorite. And yeah, he's definitely a great guy, and he will be returning. And then we also have the return of other Imaginarium favorites, a couple of them, author, editor, and poet Karma Haley Shoemaker. We think the world of Karma. She's great, award-winning writer too. And then also author and musician M.L. McIntosh. And yeah, writes books and has a metal band. So how cool is that? So yeah, definitely excited to have M.L. McIntosh returning to Imaginarium. And then we also, of course, are continuing, because Holly has been busy. So we have been adding a number of new programming additions. So I will go over those real quickly with you. And then we'll be getting over to Holly for some updates on her end. But new workshops added. We have Be the 10% presenter Hallie Bridgman. And Hallie has sold over 1 million books independently. And yeah, definitely a person that knows things. But it looks at getting to be in the top 10% of the submission pile. And yes, definitely getting ready for publication and teaching authors how to get in that top tier of the submission pile. And yeah, that's going to be a great workshop because she knows what she's talking about. And she's also going to give a marketing workshop, creating a marketing plan when you don't have a marketing degree. And definitely, as I mentioned, she's done quite well selling books independently. So yeah, definitely that'll be a great workshop to join. And then sizzling prose from presenter Ariel Italics. And yes, that is for making your romance writing more steamy and spicy. So yeah, that should be a really good workshop. And I highly recommend authors of all genres checking that out because it's not just
Yes.
for romance authors. And there's Holly. Hi,
Yes,
Holly.
I'm here. And I'll elaborate further on that. It's not just, yeah, for romance writers or people, that have written it in the past. It's for those thinking about it, that are currently writing, or people that have, written it before and want to try something new. But she tells you how to beef it up to where it's not gratuitous. You can make it hot, you can make it steamy, you can still be tasteful, you can still be inclusive, you could still, not be rapey, okay, let's say that. And not cross those lines. How to be really, really steamy, but not cross any lines.
That'd be a really, really good workshop.
It's going to
And
be
yeah,
interesting.
she's great. She's great. And yeah, great individual presenting, Ariel Italics. And then we also had 4 other new workshops added. And these 3 of them are agent oriented. The
Yep.
mighty Cherry Weiner is returning. She was a big hit last year at
Cherry.
Imaginarium. She'll be doing her Ask the Agent Part 1 and Part 2 sessions, which are basically your chance to take all the guesswork out of the query process. And Cherry's been doing it for many decades now, and getting major press deals for many years. And so, yeah, she's going to answer all your questions about the world of agents and querying and what agents do and what
What
makes a
to do and
manuscript
what
stand
not
out.
to
Yeah,
do.
what not to do, which is sometimes even more important.
That's
And
even more important, yes,
yeah,
because you hear all kinds of things. People say, "Well, I did this and I got picked up by so and so, and I did that." Well, sometimes they're full of shit, and sometimes they're inaccurate, or they did it 10 years ago. Things have
yeah,
changed. So
yeah,
yeah, here you'll hear from a live person that's
yeah,
talking about today's
yeah,
atmosphere,
yeah,
what to
definitely.
do now.
And then we also have Robert Thompson presenting the Alchemy Framework.
Yes.
This is going to be a
God,
really
I'm
neat
so
one.
excited. Read
Okay,
the read the
read the
description on that
description
one.
on that one. It's all about it's designed to help leaders and artists transform challenges and opportunities for innovation and growth, and it draws from storytelling, performance, and creative industries. It's going to be really, really cool workshop. So nothing, yeah, like I said, we always have out of the box workshops and really cool
Robert,
things you're not going to find at a lot of places. This
Robert,
is one of them.
I've been wanting Robert to come for a long time, and
Yeah.
I finally got him to this year, and he's going to love it, and you are going to love him. He does so much for the film and writing community in his little area of Louisville, um,
Mhm. Well,
Louisville,
it's not a little area.
Louisville.
Louisville's pretty big. I mean, that's a
Louisville,
big
it's pretty big, but
Louisville.
I'm
It's
talking
a
about,
pretty big area. Yeah.
he he does a lot for
Yeah,
his
he
area,
does.
and
He
he
does.
wants to spread that joy and
Yeah.
bring it to Imaginarium and tell other people how they can use their platforms or their books or their films. He's also an actor. He's also a playwright. I mean, he's multi-talented,
Yeah.
and
He is.
yeah, so he's going to tell other people how to use their platforms to help others.
Yep, he sure is. And then we also have one more batch of workshops and a panel that were added. And the other workshops were one was from Jill Baker, and that's illustrating for online presentations. And that is just as the title describes it. Interviewing your characters, unlock their deepest secrets from presenter Lynn Tincher. Of course, the owner of From the Ground Up Books with 2 locations in LaGrange and Shepherdsville. And she also runs the Pen Crafters mentorship program. But yeah, she's going to be great, and she's going to give this workshop on how to interview your characters to unlock more about them. And then memoir writing, and this is also presented by Jill Baker. So that's exactly as it says, all about the topic of memoir writing. And then the panel added is talk is cheap, subtext, dialect, and the unspoken. And this is discovering the power of inverse dialogue, where what is left unsaid is sometimes more important than the words on the page. So I'll leave that intriguing topic out there for you to think about. But yeah, I think that's going to be a really interesting panel. But those are the new additions. And yeah, so I'm looking at trying to keep a watch on the clock here, so we stay on time. And
I
yeah,
want to say hello, Moon. Hello,
yeah,
Amy.
yeah,
Um, yes, Amy, I was going to tell you, uh, go ahead, and if you have any questions about any of our guests, or you want to see who's new, you haven't heard of them before, and you want to know what they're about, check out their links, whatever, go to entertheimaginarium.com, our website, and go over to guest, and it will show you a list. And when you get to the list, you'll have a box, and it'll say like our
yeah,
guest tonight. It'll
guest and
have,
panel.
like his
Yeah,
name, and it'll have Imaginarium,
yeah.
2026, and click on that. And when you do, that'll take you to a page of their own and tell you all about them.
Absolutely. Yeah, right there. It's called Guests and 2026 Guests and Panelists. That's the
There
menu
you go.
option you choose.
Yep.
And so to
And you
go
can learn
here,
about all of our guests. And I'm telling you, if you haven't heard of some of these people, I really
yeah,
implore you to check them
yeah,
out, because your mind
check
is
them
going to
out.
be blown.
All right. Well, we're going to get over here right now, the sponsors and those that brought you tonight's show. And that would be Sandy Lender, the genre blender, our steadfast Sandy, taking care of Imaginarium and Star Chamber show for a long time. We definitely appreciate her. And of course, also doing that per Bastet Publications. But here's a little bit from Sandy.
Did you know that fantasy author Sandy Lender offers more than epic fantasy novels for your escapist tendencies? Oh, my friends, Sandy's imagination can take you to all kinds of crazy or satirically vampiric or horrifying places. She even has soothing poetry to ease you through periods of grief. Visit AuthorSandyLender.com to choose the exact adventure you need today.
And thank you, Sandy. You are awesome. Yeah, the one and only Sandy Lender, the genre blender. And now I'll go over here for a little bit on Per Bastet. Per Bastet Publications is a small press based in the Louisville metro area, specializing in speculative fiction and other outside the box books. With 40 titles in print and ebook formats and a handful of audiobooks, Per Bastet offers a little bit of everything. Check out Frenemies in Space, Marian Allen's new science fiction short story collection featuring return character Smart Mouth Connie Phelan. Or try Michael Dabney's latest David Blaze mystery, A Deadly Game, a prequel set in 1984 Philly. You can find these titles and more at perbastetpublications.com, at Amazon, or you can find the press in person at Kentucky and Indiana book fairs and conventions. Per Bastet Publications, where timeless tales unfold. Shout out to Sarah Marion Allen, and Teely Harris, who I call the literary triumvirate. They are awesome folks. And so yeah, we're on time, Holly. We are on time, believe it or not. We're gonna have our guest segment on time. I'm so proud of us. We've done that a
We
few
are.
times.
I do want to add a
Oh
little
no.
little quick. Yeah,
There's
give me 10 seconds.
all right.
Hey, if y'all haven't heard about the weather, you need to watch the weather. We'll know more tomorrow. The hurricane chasers are up there right now, reading the millibars, seeing about it. So we'll have a more accurate weather model coming tomorrow evening, into the day on Friday. But most of the tri-state area here needs to be prepared for late Friday night. So get your stuff together between now and Friday.
Well,
Okay,
there's
back to scheduled programming.
yeah, there's your public service announcement from the Star Chamber Show's official weather person, Holly
That's right.
Phillippe. And but I'll tell you, this is very accurate. We've got a literary hurricane for you right now. And
Uh-huh.
yes, tonight we have an award-winning author and screenwriter who we are honored to have as a guest, spotlighted guest at Imaginarium 2024. His debut novel was a middle grade novel, The Erie Brothers, which was released by Scary Dairy Press. He is a member of the Horror Writers Association and the Society of Children's Book Writers and Illustrators, and has nearly 50 published stories in anthologies and magazines. And Dark Roots is his new psychological horror novel. And by now, I think you know who I'm talking about. The one, the only, Sheldon Higdon. Welcome to the show. Your mic should be on.
Yeah. Thank you. Can you hear me?
Yes.
We can.
Very well. Very well.
Yeah. All right. Okay.
You got a weather
Thank you.
report and everything, so you're set.
Yeah, I know. I feel like I'm coming on the news or something.
Yeah.
That's it. Don't be scared. Be prepared, as
Yeah.
Ryan Howell says down there in Eastern Kentucky. So,
Yeah,
yes.
We're about to get smacked.
I drive Steve nuts because anytime it's a little fact, Sheldon. I'll tell you my guilty pleasure, other than murderers, because I love true crime. Other than that, it's weather. I am obsessed. I've always been obsessed with weather since I was a child. So, but I became a nurse. I don't know why I didn't go into meteorology. I don't know. I wanted to take care of people, but it is what it is. But yeah. I do love weather. So when we have events like this, I drive him nuts because I've literally got it live streaming and playing and updating. And I'll keep doing this for the next 4 days. That's all it's going to be playing.
Yeah.
That's where my noise canceling headphones come in very handy. And and she likes true crime, but she also has a thing for vampires too. So just to mention.
Well, I am a vampire, so
We're supposed to get up to 20 inches, maybe more. That's what they're saying, but
that sounds funny.
They're saying 18 up to 18 inches
up
here.
Up to 18 here. Yeah, it's possible. It looks like we're sitting at a good foot at least, but it's that ice line that's bothersome. That's what we got to watch is that ice line.
Outages when that ice hits hard, but
give me snow. I'd rather have a foot of snow.
It's not Kamchatka, Russia. I don't know if you saw the video from there, but they had 16 feet of snow like in the past week. And they literally had people just for fun jumping out of upper story apartments into these massive snow drifts. Some of the craziest videos seen. And I thought
crazy.
There's got to be AI. Nope. I did a little bit of a dive into it just to check. It was the real thing. Yeah.
Do you tend that is well, go ahead. But I was going to tell you, since we're talking about weather, do you like to write during like these snowstorms? Do you write during them, Sheldon?
No, they usually the snowstorms usually happen while I'm writing.
They happen while you're writing.
So the short answer is no. I don't like, I just write, and if there happens to be a storm outside, then I guess it's just,
Then it just, coincidence.
It just works out. Yeah.
I was going to say that, if we get hit with 18 inches of snow, I'm going to say, oh, Sheldon must have been writing.
I mean, I'm working on a new book where winter is half of the book is winter, so it makes sense.
Nice.
So.
Well, fantastic.
We have been on a theme. I know you probably know Tom Erb, because he's very active in the horror world, and his recent book was Snow Black, and so that was a very wintry book, and so we're keeping on theme here. We're keeping on theme. That's good. But let's kick off with, of course, we know you, and some of the people that, listen to the show know you from Imaginarium. But tell us just a little bit about your work and what you're about as a writer.
Most people, they consider me to be a horror writer because I'm so ingrained in that community. But it's funny because I write horror, but I don't see myself. That's not what I list myself. I write dark fiction. It's always dark no matter what I write. I can write a children's book and it's going to be dark. That's just who I am. If I were to, paint a rainbow, it would be muted colors. I want to be vibrant because it has to be dark. So I'm usually associated with horror, and a lot of my stuff is, but it's suspense, it's psychological. Most of it's psychological horror. I rarely, except for a few times, write, just blood and gut stuff or, monsters and things of that nature. I have written some zombie stuff, but it's mostly humans being the monsters themselves, which is what I'm usually writing. So, so my first book came out a couple of years ago. It was a middle grade book. The Erie Brothers and the Witches of Autumn came out in fall of 23, then won the Best Children's Book Award at Imaginarium.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Nice.
and it won 2 other awards, and then it showed up on the NASDAQ screen in New York Times Square. And then now it's being reprinted by
Wow.
Crystal Lake Publishing.
Yeah,
So they're gonna republish it. It's gonna come out probably this spring, April, May. And then
fantastic.
I'm contracted to write books 2, 3, and 4 in that series, and I'm writing book 2 now. And obviously, Dark Roots just came out, and then we'll go from there. So
Yeah, well,
I
definitely
well
want to. Oh,
I
go
do
ahead.
have sorry, I did write a 10-minute film that was filmed in London. So that that's going to hit the film festival market, and then it will come out to the public probably in a year.
Nice, nice. And Holly, your microphone is breaking up a bit again. It's having that weird vocal effect that it was doing last time. So you might reboot real quick on that. But I know that Holly was definitely wanting to talk to you a bit about the middle grade novel, and of course, the Erie Brothers and the Witches of Autumn, and it's great that you're doing a series because yeah, one of our grandkids is a very avid reader and is middle grade, so I know she's wanting to
Oh, okay.
pick your brain a little bit about that one. She's just relogging in right now because of the little connection issue that her phone has been acting up lately. But yes, Dark Roots is definitely something we want to dive into, and because that's a very current thing for you. So yeah, tell us a little
Yeah.
bit about Dark Roots and give us a little bit of a synopsis of that one.
A quick synopsis would be it's about Benjamin Cole, whose an 83-year-old dad, he commits suicide at the family farm that's about 4 hours north of Pittsburgh up in the mountains and stuff. And that's where Benjamin's from. But he left at an early age. And so he really hasn't been back a whole lot. And so therefore he doesn't have a whole lot of ties and memories to it. But when his dad dies, he makes a beeline for up there. He's left with the task of selling the house, fixing up the farm, and then he starts to sort of discover some odd things within the walls of the house, and a wall that shouldn't be there. Um, and then his girlfriend's son gets kidnapped, and then it's just a race against time to figure out what's going on. And he's dealing with repressed memories. He's dealing with what he thinks are ghosts in the house.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so it has a lot to do with family and not knowing who you really think you know.
Mm-hmm. Excellent. And yeah, it looks like we got Holly back with us.
I'm
And
back.
okay, yes, yeah. If you heard that description, Holly, I know this sounds like a book I would want to read definitely. But I know you, with your love of true crime and psychological stuff, yeah, this sounds like it's right up your alley, Holly, for sure.
Yes,
So,
Yeah,
I
it
love the crazies.
well, it's funny because I wrote this book. If I finished this book in 2013.
wow.
And it's been, yeah, I wrote it. It's my thesis novel from Seton Hill University. Um,
Nice.
and so I kept it locked away because I knew there's some trigger warnings in there. And the ending is something that I thought I liked it. If it's the ending that it needs to have, but I knew, I always thought, well, if I put this out someday, it's going to rub people the wrong way. And so far, people, it surprisingly like the ending. They're
Well, I
shocked by
think
it. They're twisted
you,
by it, but they like it.
but they liked it. Well, you are in the
Yeah.
right time because people, it's blew up. People are crazy over true crime now, and the interest is growing and growing. And yeah, so now I think is the perfect time to come out with a book like that. Back then, maybe not so much, but yeah, here, definitely.
Yeah.
That's a good
Yeah.
point.
And it's actually fairly short, but it has a lot of chapters and it moves really quick. But Yeah, so I mean that one has been sort of in the chamber for a long time, and I'm glad it's receiving, um, good positive reviews and stuff. So I'm happy about that. That's for sure.
Yep. And yeah, this just came out. This just came out, correct?
Yeah,
As far as yeah,
November.
yeah, November. Yeah, this is a very new novel, and so yeah, so it's a matter of
It,
just for you then, as I'm kind of sensing it, you were just holding it back to find the right time to release it.
yeah, yeah, because I just wasn't sure how people would handle it because, like I said, there are some heavy stuff in it that happens. Um, the heavy stuff's not shown, but it's implied. Um,
Mhm.
and it deals with a lot of heavy themes, suicide, things like that. Of course, there's obviously there's mystery. Why would an 83-year-old man kill himself? Um, but yeah, I guess my hesitation for quite a few years sort of played out to my advantage. I mean, it did in the when it came out for like a couple of weeks. It was the number one book in psychological horror,
Mhm.
something like
Yeah, I
that. So
saw that. Yeah, I
I was
saw it. I did see that.
surprised. So yeah.
Yeah, but is this going to be a standalone, or are you looking to develop this into something further?
Well, it's funny because Journal Stone is the publisher of it, and I was talking with them, and they're like, so I have questions, this, and this. I'm like, yeah. I said, so basically, her questions. I mean, I can answer them, but I couldn't answer them because I never considered going any further with the book. And basically, when I was talking to them, they're like, "Well, this you could definitely." I'm like, "Yeah, no, it could go into a second book, and here's what I would cover, and here's the themes I would cover, and here's the idea I would cover." But I don't know. I don't know if I want to do that. I might just leave this one be. I mean, it just depends, really. I mean, we'll see. But I have tons of other books. Well, I need to write, but I also have other tons of books that I want to write. So
I love the cover too, we always like to on the show. We like to highlight the cover artists, and yeah, you've got a figure that's being looks like kind of in a shadowy kind of thing with the like a heart kind of image in the middle, but he's getting pulled at all four limbs, almost like he's being drawn and quartered. If
yeah.
that's what I kind of thought, but yeah, who was your cover artist? And yeah, tell us a little bit about the cover work because it's
Well,
nice.
I'm. I gotta pull out his name here because I can't remember. But I mean, he did a fantastic job on the cover. Mikio Murakami, a
Nice,
Japanese cover artist. But
nice.
the thing is that uh, the editor um, for journals that came to me and said, "We just want to ask because we always like to ask the writers, do you have an idea for a cover?" I said, "Yeah, I do, and here's what I want." And this is exactly what I told him, but I wasn't sure how it would, like what I had in mind. I didn't know if it would come out how I would envision it, and it did. It came out because I wanted it to look like a film poster for Hitchcock.
Yes, I can see that.
Um, yeah,
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
so I said, the roots are pulling at him because those represent
Mhm.
your family tree, the roots of your family tree. The heart has, because of the reality of everything, his heart's broken, and then there's mystery going on that he doesn't understand, so he has a question mark. Um, so
Yeah,
a little symbolism to help along, I guess. But
sure. Yeah, and yeah, it's a really intriguing cover, and I think and I'm always a bit of a sucker for good lettering, and I love the way they did your author name and the titling with that
yeah,
same kind of motif going on with
yeah, he the artist did a really good job with taking some of my notes, and then that's what he came up with, and it's perfect. So
Yep, and yeah, nothing but 5-star reviews so far from what
yeah.
I was seeing when I was checking online. That's awesome. That's awesome. But yeah, tell me a little bit more about your main character, Benjamin Cole. Yeah, what's a little bit about him, and what's a little bit more about that?
Well, he's a journalism teacher at Point Park University in downtown Pittsburgh, which is my alma mater. Um, one of my alma maters. And he's kind of sort of burnt out of doing that job. And he does journalism when he's not teaching. So he's also doing stuff for papers and stuff, but he's sort of burnt out on it because he's to the point where he doesn't want to impede on people's personal business and feelings when something bad goes down, where you have to ask him these questions that you don't want to ask him, but you do because it's your job.
Mm-hmm.
And so he's sort of burnt out on it, and so he's taken the summer off of work, and he's like, I'm going to write a novel. Let's flip this, instead of writing journalism, I'm going to write something that's creative and maybe it's going to be a thriller or something, but that's his whole goal. And then obviously it gets shattered with his family. But then he also has a girlfriend of a few years she's a black woman, and they've lost friends because he's white, she's black. And so they've lost some friends because of that. But they have a great relationship, but she wants to eventually get married, and he's kind of not sure if that's what he wants to do, and they tend to sort of argue about it quite often. And then she has a kid already, a 5-year-old kid, with her ex-man and stuff like that. So so there's a family dynamic there too that's going on, besides his own family.
Excellent. And one of the interesting things, the reason I did mention Tom Erb a little bit earlier, not just because of the wintry kind of setting of your book and his book, but it's the book you're working on. But it's he gave you a great blurb, and
Yeah.
and I think it's worth reading because I think the audience will be really intrigued by his take on it. But I'm going to go ahead and do that here. But it says Sheldon Higdon's Dark Roots is a deeply disturbing and brilliantly twisted read, blending the haunting psychological depth of True Detective, the relentless tension of To Catch a Killer, and the eerie dread of The Black Phone. The story grips to the first page and never lets go. It's a nightmarish descent into darkness that will make every parent's skin crawl and stomach turn. A solid 5 shovels read. But yeah, I mean that's one heck of a blurb. But yeah, that fits with everything you've been talking about, and I just thought that'd be fun to pass along.
Yeah, I was lucky enough. He read it and gave it a good review, and I had some other people give it some good blurbs. I've been lucky in that sense.
Yeah. Yeah, that's great, and I think it's so cool, yeah, because we've had a lot of folks from Seton Hill University on the show, and of course, I've had good friends that have taught there that have been great part of Imaginarium, like Tim Wagner and all, and it's so cool to see the connection here. Well, yeah, for sure, with you having this be a thesis, yeah.
Well, Tim gave me his blurb is on the front of the book.
Yes, that's true. That's true. Yeah. That's a good point. So well, hey, I'll pass that along. This is a nasty, coiled up snake of a novel with plenty of venom in its bite.
Yeah,
right on the front cover there. That's awesome. Yeah, Tim just made it in our Imagination Hall of Fame last year. So we
I remember that.
Like I call him here. I call him a Hall of Famer now.
Yeah,
certainly deserves it. But yeah, it sounds like a really good kind of character driven project. Yeah, for sure. And it really seems like it gets into a lot of stuff as far as that I think would appeal to not just horror readers, but also those that like psychological thrillers or folks that like the true crime kind of stuff and whatnot.
Yeah,
get into psychological stuff where that really they like to get into the mindsets of things. But that's what this sounds like to me. And yeah, I do. I confess I have not myself read it yet, but yeah, my world is crazy. Believe me, with the kind of schedule I have. But I will. I will get that done. And I know right now that Holly's definitely got this one earmarked after what you've talked about. And you're back. All right, good.
I am back. Weirdest thing ever. The neighbor texts and says, "There's water spraying out the back of your truck." I'm like,
what?
How is this possible? What are you? So I went out there. I had to get the grandson to get the camera, and so I could get the flashlight, his phone. We go out there, and there's this water, a fountain of it, just shooting right up out of the bed of one of our pickup trucks. And I'm like, how does this happen? Well, I go out there. I had left a water hose hooked to the side, and I'd forgot to turn the water off, but it ain't even freezing here. But somehow the nozzle has busted, and it was just shooting water straight up like a fountain out of the back of the truck. It looks so bizarre.
Lovely.
Holy moly.
Lovely. Is the water? Let me ask this question: is the water off?
Yes, I had to go around the side of the house and
Okay.
about fell because it is
Yeah.
slick because it has been raining all day and it is slick. But I made it, and whew, problem averted. I
There's a
don't know how long
there's a
it's ran, but Branson,
yeah.
the grandson, said that it wasn't like that when he come home, so it
Yeah.
must have just happened. And so
Whoo!
yeah,
Good thing we
I
just
had to
caught that.
pop out.
Yeah, we just caught that then, because yeah, that's
Yeah,
that's some. Well, there
weird.
you go,
It
Sheldon.
was the
There's a
weirdest.
story. There's a story in there somewhere.
Well,
When you have a live
It's a-
show, the shit that happens, I tell you.
well,
not as
now you
bad
can
as
write about a flood.
yeah, not
Yeah,
about
no kidding, right?
now. See, that's not as bad as the night that we had a tornado hit, and
No.
it was that was
And
going
me and
on.
my son were having to it sucked our door open. We
Yeah,
had a tornado
during the
warning
show.
here, and
Wow.
there was rotation over us because you know me, I'm watching the radar and everything. And so there was a tornado like over us. I go downstairs because that's our basement. I'm down there. The lights go. We lose power. It sucks our door open, and me and my son. It took us
Yeah,
both to hold that door back, and he was a grown man, and we had to pull both of us to get that door shut. I'm still on live. I still got a headset on. It
so
was it was quite the
so
adventure.
so it could be worse, Sheldon. It could
Whew,
Yeah,
be worse, but
that's
you just
Twisters
never
Part
know.
3 right there.
yeah, it
There you
is.
go.
But
But I
yeah, there's
did
a
want to say something about your. I I, I didn't get to hear all about your middle grade
Okay.
horror series because my granddaughter Raven, properly named,
yeah. I
we
mentioned her.
used to
Yeah,
call her, yeah, a little spooky because she a little creepy. That's what we called her because she'd sneak up on you and you didn't know she. But now she loves to read. She's a voracious reader. Reads. You just give them to her and she devours them. But she loves spooky and horror books. And I told her she's not quite ready for Stephen King,
Yeah.
but yeah, but I think middle grade is what you've got yours at. So yeah,
Yeah.
I was wondering more about that if it'd be good for like a child going on 12.
Oh, yeah. I mean, when the as I was saying before, the book number one, the Erie Brothers and the Witches of Auden, came out in September 23, and then obviously that won the award with you guys, which I'm still very
Uh-huh.
appreciative of and proud of. Um, and then I mentioned that Crystal Lake Publishing is reprinting that book, and that book I
Very
just sent
cool.
them in the edits on the last proofread today. I think it was the last one. I can't remember, but so I sent them it back today. So it I'm going to assume I don't have a date, but I'm going to assume it's probably going to be released like April, May. So then you'll be able to get that book once again because right now you can't get it. And then
Okay.
book two, which I'm writing now, I can say that there's four books. Book one has the word autumn. Book two will have the word winter. Book three, spring. Book four, summer.
Oh,
So instead of a series, I call it a cycle because of the seasons.
uh-huh.
mhm,
So book two will be out. Again, I'm guessing probably fall, September, October, and then books two and or three and four will be out in 2027. So you know,
Very cool.
so yeah, it's so the answer to your question, yes, because the
Okay.
characters, the twins, are 12 years old themselves.
Oh,
Um, and all four books, when you're done, when you read books one through all four, it happens time wise. It's like a week, you know.
oh, okay.
So it moves, it's moving fast, and it all takes place in September. So I can't remember, it's the end of September or middle of September, um, but yet seasons, there's various seasons, stuff like that, because there's totems. So there's a totem for autumn, there's a totem for winter, and so on, and each
Right.
totem holds the seed of that season.
Mhm.
And so therefore a bad witch, who's also was one of the judges of the Salem witch trials, wants all four of those so he can step into this world and control all magic, humans, what the hidden ones, which are like fairies and things of that nature. So he wants full power, even over Mother Nature herself.
Oh,
And so they're trying to stop all that.
well, then
Basically,
I need to read it myself too, because I do
Yeah.
yeah,
love YA and middle grade stuff. So
Mhm.
yeah, I definitely need to read it. Witches and mayhem, yes, sign
yeah.
me up.
In the
Well,
in the book one, there's there's a talking pumpkin, who's
Heck yeah.
So yeah, there's black cats, and there's creatures in
Ooh,
caves, and there's vampires who say they're not
uh-oh.
yes,
vampires.
Uh-oh.
yes,
Um,
sold.
Yeah, you sold it to Holly there.
yeah. So well, he's a vampire kid
Yeah.
who doesn't like being called a vampire. Um,
Yeah.
and so yeah, so there's a lot of various things from that kind of world, that's sort of in
Yeah,
there, but a lot of it's turned inside out and upside down, because I didn't want to
Very
just
cool.
do something normal with this thing. If I
right.
go, okay, I'm going to write about this. Well, I'm not going to write that because that's always been written that way. I'm going to turn it inside out and look at it from a different angle and write it this way instead.
Hmm.
Right. Yeah, because see, a
Yeah.
lot of people assume that we've read all the submitted books to Imaginarium, and we do not read any of them. Yeah, we'll pick them up later, down the line once we hear them. But yeah, we have nothing to do with the judging process. We
Yeah.
pass those
Yeah.
off.
Hmm.
We just
Yeah.
make sure, I always make sure about the dates and that they were printed in the,
Yeah, the right
submission
year.
time and that they are
Mhm.
accurate and all this stuff. But that's
Yeah,
that's all
check on them.
passed off. So we don't get to read all these. And
Yeah,
yeah,
no.
we hear about them, and I'm like,
Well,
oh gosh, I got to go back now.
yeah. Yeah.
But that's great, it's series, because I think that, yeah, the best, growing up, and it's anecdotal because it's me, but
Yeah,
growing up as a reader, I mean, the best stories that I liked for my age, were the stories that had darker edges or horror elements,
yep,
things like that. I mean, I picked up on them right away whenever I read older fairy tales. I mean,
yeah,
that's
me
the
too.
cool stuff. That's the stuff that kids, I think, love and
Yep.
want to read,
Well,
and yeah.
my when I first started doing it, my original idea was to it was going to be my sort of my version of the Hardy Boys.
Oh
Nice.
yeah,
Um,
that's
I
awesome.
don't think I accomplished that, but that was my like one of my ideas from the beginning of it. So was to
Very
have that kind of book.
Very cool. Yeah, because I actually did read Hardy Boys stuff growing up, so yeah, I'm familiar with that.
Yeah,
And
I wanted like the horror version of Hardy Boys.
right, right. Yeah, yeah, I
yeah,
know what you mean though
yeah.
about the basic
Put more of an
storytelling
edge on it.
structure. Yeah.
Hmm.
But that's cool. And yeah, whenever you want to sell a book to Holly, all you got to do is say the word vampire and you'll sell it
That's it.
immediately.
It's sold.
So that'll be a tip for you for efficiency when you're at an event. See Holly and just hold up the book and say vampire, and there's your sale right
Vampire,
there.
serial
Yeah,
killer, a
yeah.
witch. We're good.
Well, yeah, I was gonna say it's got all your top stuff. It's got the
Yeah.
witches too.
Yeah,
So,
yeah. It has
but
scarecrows. Well,
yeah,
the vampire boy, his name's Bram.
nice,
He
Nice.
well,
nice,
he's named after my own child. So my kids' names are used in the book as characters.
very
He's
Very
a
cool.
cool.
side, he's a
Yeah.
side character, but that's my one of my children's name is Bram.
Oh, that's
Nice.
cool. That's cool.
And after Bram
Yeah,
Stoker. Um,
Heck
yeah.
yeah.
and then his
Of
middle name
course.
is after all my kids have names that are related to horror figures.
Oh, that's awesome.
It's awesome.
Yeah.
That is cool.
Um, yeah. So Bram, actually, like I said, he's a kid too, but he doesn't like being called a vampire, and he has his own brood, and his brood is that he sort of turns people into scarecrows, and he calls them straw tops. Um,
I
and
love
so,
it.
and then there's a whole mess of them, but there's one that pulls at your heartstrings, And then there's a couple other that I use sort of as comedic undertone. You
Uh-huh.
know, they sort of have this Laurel and Hardy kind of aspect to them. You know, to sort of cut some of the seriousness that might be happening at the moment.
Nice. That's awesome. Yeah, because the more you talk about, it, the more I'm putting this also on my TBR list for sure. Yeah, because that sounds like a really good youth story, and for well, I think any reader could enjoy something like this.
Well, and it's
That's
and
awesome.
overall, it's about family. It's about
Yeah.
knowing who you are. You know, loving your family, depending on each other because it's these twin boys. You know,
Hmm.
and I have twins.
Oh, neat.
Um, you know, so whenever I would sign that book at signings or conventions or books, whatever, I would, what I would write would be, "There's no greater spell than family. There's no spell stronger than family." And
That's
so,
true.
Nice.
Yeah.
because that's what it's about. So,
Yeah, that is
and
awesome.
now
And
book two is a bit darker. That I can say. It's definitely darker because it's getting deeper into some stuff regarding the twins. So.
sure. Yeah, the
Very
book
cool.
ones I've always found in series is they carry the burden of having to establish the parameters of that world and
Yeah.
doing a lot of
Well, and you got to
introduction
learn your
of settings
characters.
and the stories and
Yeah.
the characters,
Yeah.
a lot of introductory kind of burdens. And then so when you get into book two, you can really kind of take off and run at that point because you've got the base to work from. And I've always
Yeah.
found that series is go, you can really kind of let your wings spread on book twos and threes and so forth. But yeah, that sounds like that one's gonna be a lot of fun too. Yeah, absolutely. As it takes a darker edge.
Yeah,
Very
it's
cool.
definitely darker.
Yeah, awesome. And yeah, we've talked about Dark Roots. We've talked about the series, and but as I mentioned in the intro, you have over 50 published stories in anthologies and magazines. So I would be remiss if I didn't ask about what's going on with you in shorter fiction right now, and do you have anything either upcoming or that's been getting out there on that side of things?
No, I mean, I every now and then just to sort of break things up, I write a short story, and I have written some over the last month that I've sent out to magazines that reached out to me, and so I haven't heard anything yet. But when that happens, then I'll know more on that. But yeah, right now I'm just more concentrated on this book.
Hmm.
And then, as I mentioned before, with the film
Yeah,
that I wrote, that like that's starting to pick up because the director's reaching, calling me and saying, "Well, here's this festival," So I'm trying to figure that stuff out so that way, if there's some I can go to, as a guest and talk about the
sure.
movie or whatever it's going to be. So, but yeah, short stories. I'm writing them. They're out there with some publications, but it's not like high on my list at this moment. That doesn't mean that won't change. Come once I'm
Right.
done with this book, then I'll I can do some more. But
Yeah, the movie side sounds really exciting. That's actually what I was going to ask you about after asking about the short stories. And yeah, but the movie project sounds like, I mean, it's really getting some legs underneath it and it's making some headway. With the
yeah,
story. Yeah, tell us about the
it's
how that all,
it's
yeah, break yeah,
called
get more detail on that.
it's called The Giving Box, and the tagline is "Karma knows your secrets." Um, I have seen the whole film. There's a trailer on my YouTube channel, which I think it's my name. It's been so long. I have the teaser trailer up on my YouTube channel, along with the book trailer for the Erie Brothers. Um, but yeah, it's see, how can I say this without giving anything away? It's it's called the Giving Box. I mean, a lady receives a box, and it gives her things that she doesn't really want. And it drives her crazy to the point where she just completely loses it. And then there's stuff that happens at the end, but um, so it's as usual, it's a psychological thing,
Hmm.
um, dealing with your own past. dealing with the things that you've done,
Mm-hmm.
and then you have to face up to that reality. So it's just done in a sort of supernatural way to some degree, I guess. But yeah,
Sure.
it's a short film, so it's like, we had something longer. Originally, they were going to do like a film I wrote that was a half an hour, but for festivals, they'd like to have stuff that's like 10 minutes because
Mm-hmm.
they can get a lot in there and it's short and, won't,
Mm-hmm.
like, you know what I mean? It won't bore you or something. So, so then I wrote this, and then about a year ago in February, February of last year, it was filmed in London, and then so it's ready to go out. She's just getting festivals lined up, and then they'll go there, and then once that's over, then it'll be released publicly to on I don't know, YouTube or wherever I don't know where they're gonna put it,
Yeah,
unless
streaming.
something happens where it gets picked up for some sort of something, then it'll go there. But who
Right.
knows?
Yeah, that's a well, I mean, I have seen a lot of, just in watching the film world, when a short film sometimes does really well and it gets established, sometimes it becomes the basis for a feature film project. I've seen that happen many times.
Yeah,
And so,
yeah,
yeah, who knows what could happen, out of this.
yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm a person who sort of, I live in the moment, so I don't really worry about what that can do or become or what it won't, So it's out there, so I can't control anything other than having it out there. So I just try to stay in the moment and keep what I'm doing.
How did I do want to ask though, how did it evolve to where, yeah, you had it produced or shot overseas, correct?
Yeah.
And so,
Yeah,
yes,
London.
how did that how that evolve? Being that you're based here, and yeah, your director and team are over there. How?
The director she lives in London,
Mhm.
but she's from Sao Paulo, Brazil. It's where she's originally from, but
Oh,
she lives
cool.
in London. She
Wow.
lives
Very
in
cool.
Okay.
London, and yeah, and so and she's made some other shorts before we ever met and talked and stuff.
Mhm.
Um, but yeah, she reached out through me on social media, sent me a message
Mhm.
one day, and then we just started talking, and I saw her work, and
Mhm.
we're like, okay, let's let me write something, I'll send it to you, and we'll go from there. And then like I said, I sent her a script that I wrote a while years ago that won an award at the Erie Horror Film Festival in 2009. So I sent her that, and then she liked it, but then the producers of it are like, no, we need something smaller. So I'm like, okay. So I wrote another one, which I turned into a short story that I just sent out. I converted it into a short story, and
Nice.
then I wrote the giving box, and I sent that,
Mhm.
and that's of course obviously what was made. But yeah, and then she got her team together and got the producers and got the editors, all the whole shebang, and
Yeah.
made it.
Yeah, well, I know, Holly. I know that he was mentioning karma. I know that's one of your favorite topics
Yes.
is karma. So, yeah, we'll definitely have to check this out. Yeah, this sounds great. Yeah, for sure. And I love the kind of the international aspect where, yeah, you teamed up with a group overseas and got this going. That's a good story. Yeah,
Well,
for
that
sure.
was that.
And adapted it into and did the adapted the screenplay into the short story. I think a lot of cool stuff
Yeah,
here.
yeah. Well, that was one thing when I wrote. I wrote it as I would write anything. I didn't go, okay, well, since you're filming it there, let me change certain words. And so I sent it to him, and then she got the actors, and they're going, well, you know, what if they say that? I said they can do what they want. They're the actors. Take it and run with it. I said should I change things? Because I didn't know if instead of saying a house flat, or whatever, elevator lift things of that little things like that. And they're like, no, we're gonna do how you wrote it, but there's just certain things that they thought maybe change this word, or I'm like, no, that's fine, go with it. And then so it's kind of weird to see. I mean, it's not weird, but it's cool to see when I watched the film to see um, English actors, and there's even a couple actors from New Zealand in it, and seeing them sort of say my
Mhm.
words.
Yeah,
Yes.
that
So
is
Wow.
cool.
yeah,
Yeah.
so it's because when I'm watching it, I'm like, did I write that? Like, I'm like, I don't remember. Did I write? And
That
then
sounds
I actually
pretty
had to.
damn good. Yeah.
Yeah, I pulled it out and going, oh, I did write that. That's what I wrote. Okay, all right.
Yay me.
Because when I turned in the final sort of shooting scripts that they used for shoot on, when I finally sent that in, compared to when they started filming, it was like 2 years went by. So I haven't read it or looked at it in that time. So
Right.
when I watched it, I'm like, oh, okay, I don't remember. I just couldn't remember. So I had to pull it out and kind of go over it. So I'm like, okay,
I know a
guess,
lot
yeah.
of people think when you get your book looked at from a producer standpoint, oh, it's going to get made right then and there. No, sometimes it
No, it
takes
takes
many years.
time. Yeah, sometimes it takes
Yeah,
up
there's
2 years.
time involved.
Wow.
Patience.
Yeah, patience. You definitely have to have patience, and
Yep.
whether it's the fiction world or a film world, you definitely have to have patience.
Yep. 100%.
But it sounds like, yeah, you found a team that you gelled with very well. So that's definitely a
That's always a good
blessing
thing.
in the filmmaking world.
Yeah.
Yeah, because quite often, yeah, there's writers and
Uh,
then the writers are getting frustrated often. So that's cool that
Yeah.
they got the stuff
No,
you
I mean,
wrote made it all the way.
we had many, 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 many Zoom calls, and we were
Yeah.
both like, hey,
Fantastic.
we were both just like, she's like, is there anything you want me to change? Is it, like, and I'm like, no, so
Oh, wow.
we were like very supportive of each other through the whole process.
Yeah.
So
Well, you were
we had,
blessed. Yeah, because a lot of
yeah,
writers
yeah.
lose their autonomy,
Plus,
and
I got paid,
well,
so
And you got paid.
hey, that's
yeah,
always a
so
plus.
This story keeps getting
yeah,
better. Yeah, you got
yeah.
money
So
too.
yeah, no, I mean, there was a contract and everything, so so it
Well,
wasn't like
That's awesome.
next motion picture,
Yeah, that's what I'm
yeah,
saying.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
full feature.
Yeah.
That's the thing with the Erie brothers. People ask me all the time, do you like, who do you see in your head as like playing them in a movie? And I'm like, a movie would be cool. It really would. Like if a Del Toro got a hold of it or something, but
Yeah,
an animated film for me would be the absolute best way to go about it.
Hmm.
Just because you can really do some cool stuff with the animation and stuff. But a film
right.
would be cool. But I always see it as like a Netflix cartoon or something. Animated film.
Oh, that'd be fun.
So,
Well, with your
yeah.
short film getting out there in the circuit, and and like I said, having a good team that's working with you, it kind of does lay the groundwork in the direction of doing more in the film world. So that's good. Hopefully that'll this will help break some
And when
doors down for you and get
Yeah.
you get it down there, man, don't forget enter it to Imaginarium through
Oh
Film
yeah,
Freeway, man. And
yeah, well,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
because
because we
we
got
have the
yeah.
international aspects. So yeah,
Yeah, we do. Yeah, so yeah, we'd love to
definitely.
take a look at that for sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, it sounds like a great project. So, so what is ahead for you in 2026 as far as you mentioned some of the stuff on your publishing schedule, but what are you doing event wise or anything along those lines? What's you want to
Book
mention
Um,
signing.
where they might be able to find you?
I'll probably come spring, because I didn't want to do anything in the wintertime, especially this weekend coming up. But
Yeah, no
I'm gonna
Why not?
yeah. So I was gonna wait until the reprint of Erie Brothers 1 comes out in whatever month, April, May, and then I'll have obviously Dark Roots,
kidding.
and then I would do some local book signings here in Ohio, here in Pennsylvania. Pittsburgh is where I live,
Uh-huh.
and probably maybe Ohio. But I would like to, like, as in something big. I'm thinking, I'm wanting to go out to San Diego, and do some stuff out there. I've been out there for the past 2 years. I want to go back again and hit some bookstores that are really popular. But I also want to do Dragon Con down in Atlanta, is what I would like
Oh
to
yeah.
hit
Oh
in the
yeah,
fall.
massively cool event.
Yeah, so I think that would, especially with the Erie Brothers, I think that would be a really good spot
It
to
would.
be there
Yeah,
for that book.
yeah, absolutely would.
And
And
the
oh,
next year, I think that kind of stuff will be far more happening, because then I'm going to have books. I'm going to have book 1, book 2, book 3, Dark Roots, and then whatever else. So
Well, and
right.
then you got the film,
And you
and
got the
that's
yeah,
when
and then
film.
the film will be
you
out.
have to come back. You have to come back and see us.
Yeah,
See,
at that
Yeah,
point,
no,
when you get a whole loaded pile of
well,
stuff.
I wanted to. Was it? It might have been last year, but I couldn't
Yeah, you
swing it
were.
or something.
We
Stuff
saw you
come
in
up.
20,
Yeah.
2024 is when we saw you.
Yeah, because I liked it. I had such a good time. I was like, I'm going to come back next year, but I couldn't. And then this year got away from me because of the new all the stuff I have to work on.
It
But yeah,
happens.
no, I plan on coming back. That's for sure. In the future.
Yeah. Yeah, because you got to. Yeah, that's one thing about having a multifaceted, creative world where you have the film
Yeah.
project, you have a book for young readers, you have books for adult readers. It does open up the number of types of events that you can do.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, and yeah, from that point of view, I didn't know. That's why I'm, with Dark Roots, because I didn't want to. I don't want to. As a writer, I don't want to limit myself. I want to cover all
No.
bases. I want to write for adults. I want to write for kids. I want to, I want to write
Mhm.
fantasy or horror or whatever it's going to be. Screenplays, teleplays, comic books.
Sure.
I've written.
Yeah.
That's funny because me and an old writing buddy of mine, we wrote a comic book. We sent it to our Dark Horse Comics, and they were going to pick it up, and they were going to all they had to do was get the money. They're going, okay, we're going to take it to the money guy, and they're going to do a 4-part series. They even had test pages drawn up by artists and
Oh,
stuff
wow.
for it,
Yeah.
and then that next day, I think it was this we had this ongoing discussion going on for a while with them, and then one day they're like, I heard on the news or I read somewhere, it said, "Oh, Marvel now owns Star Wars." And I went, because Dark Horse had Star Wars for the rights for the past 25 years at that time, and that's their money, bread and money. That's their breadwinner.
Yep.
So all of a sudden we get a thing that says, "Oh, well, this isn't going to happen." We're like,
Oh,
man,
man.
because their money's gone. At least a good chunk
Right.
of it. So yeah,
Right.
that whole sale put that right into the tanker. But
I
man, that
hope
was
you can get
close.
back to do that. And I know that our mutual friend Tom Erb will be thrilled to hear that because he's such a good artist and comic guy.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. No, he knows all about that. Yeah,
yeah,
that's
that's cool.
but man, that was because I do want to do comic books too. So that was
Yeah.
almost a dream of mine.
Well, keep that keep that in keep that in your mind. Yeah, because it sounds like
Yep.
you're getting starting to do different kinds of projects. So, but yeah, it sounds like you got a great year ahead of you, and yeah, this is it's gonna be fun to watch, and I need to catch up and get Dark Roots fully read and some of your other stuff for sure. So, and I know Holly's definitely gonna do that too. So,
Oh, I'll be
count on
watching
us.
out for
Yeah,
that
yeah,
middle grade series.
uh-huh,
Definitely. Yep.
yeah. We've got young readers in our world that will definitely introduce that too. Yeah,
Yep.
Yeah.
they'll love
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
They'll love
Yeah.
it for sure. But what let's give you a chance to tell folks what platforms you emphasize for people connecting with you on, or websites, anything of that nature. So they can follow you.
I usually just tell them to go to my website, sheldonhigdon.com. Obviously it's there, or I'm on Facebook.
Gotcha.
Those are, I do Instagram. I have TikTok, but I don't do them like all the time kind of thing.
Right.
Facebook is usually where I'm at most of the time, but links like that to that kind of stuff are up on my website too. So
Cool. SheldonHigdon.com. So that's where you go,
yeah.
folks. Definitely. Now, is there anything that, we've covered a number of topics tonight, but is there anything that we have not covered that you were wanting to kind of get the word out about? Because we want to make sure we give you a chance to talk about everything tonight.
Actually, I don't think there is. I think we covered
we did
almost
our
everything.
job. So we did our job.
Yeah.
We did our job.
It's
Yeah, you did.
even with
a
fountain
nothing.
blowing up in the back of the truck, we got it done.
Yeah, even with the fountain, that was wild. Well, I'll ask you this: what is before we sign off? What is one piece of advice that you would give a new horror author or somebody that wants to try to write horror that's never
Or
written it before?
dark fiction, yeah,
Yeah,
probably.
or psychological thrillers. What's one piece of advice you would give them?
I mean, there's so many pieces. The best, I think, one of the most important things for anybody who's going to write, specifically younger people, because I don't think they understand that it's okay to fail. Like, in order to get to where you need to get, you have to fail. You have to be bad at what you're doing. because the only way you can get good is by knowing what you failed at, and then you know how to fix what that is. So I think it's important, if you're going to write a short, even if you're like, I've never written one, write one. Just write it. Get it out of your head. That's the first step. Get it out of your head, get it on the paper. And now it's something you can work with like a puzzle. Because for me, my favorite part about writing isn't writing the first draft. It's taking that draft and then rearranging, moving this, moving that, adding this, taking that out. The puzzling, the detective work, if you will, is the best part. And then, if it's a mess, it's a mess, but learn from it and then write again and then learn from that. And then when you submit stuff and they send it back and they go, hey, is it for us? Here's what we, fix this, whatever, then learn from that, but fail. It's okay to fail, because in order to succeed, you have to fail.
That's awesome. That's great advice. Because I've often said that sometimes the experiences that you learn the most from are the times you slip and fall a little bit.
Yeah,
And
we learn from our mistakes. 100%.
sometimes more than other. Yeah, often a lot more than
Well,
elsewhere. Yeah.
I will ask you one more here. Is I'm actually working on a psychological thriller. Plus, now I got pulled into a documentary. It's a whole other story.
Yeah,
Thanks,
and hey, Holly, and we might be up in the Pittsburgh area. We can't talk about that project a whole lot right now.
I may be
If we're
taking a
up,
little trip.
but if
I
we're up
may.
in that area, we could try to time it with one of Sheldon's local signings, so we go support him.
Well,
We'll
yeah,
do
let me know, and I can take you to like Evans City Cemetery, where they made Night of the Living Dead and all sorts of stuff. So,
Sure. Yeah, we'll keep you posted.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. But yeah, back to you, Holly. Yeah, your question.
But yeah, I was saying, do you always know your beginning, middle, and end, or
No,
are you kind of a pantser?
I'm both. So
Okay.
what I mean by that is, I outline with bullet points the chapters. Here's what I need to do: this, and this. But I compare writing to, if I were to hop on. If I'm in Pittsburgh, I'm going to drive to Philadelphia. I'm going to hop on, Highway A or Turnpike A to get there, and that's my story, point beginning to end. And the highway is my story. But then along the highway, I know that I'm going to have to get gas. Okay, well, there's a plot point. I know I got to go to the bathroom. Plot point. I know I got to eat. There's a plot point. But between all those bulletins, all those bullet points that I have of what I need to do, is all where the real story takes place. It's all where the real stuff happens, because you get to go off and explore this little town that you thought, oh, that sounds nice. Let's stop there. Oh, let's stop at this diner and eat. That sounds good. Oh, let's check this out. Oh, let's go in there. Let's do this. Oh, there's the world's greatest big ball of yarn. Let's check it out. That's all the stuff that makes the story happen as you're writing. So if you were to outline every bit of that piece, it would come off so stilted. Why not let all that stuff surprise you, as you would if you were really taking that drive?
Mm-hmm.
So it's both. I know things I want to do, but I also let the characters and the story itself take me along where I didn't know I was going to go.
Very good.
Let them come through.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can.
And a lot of it's just your inner, your subconscious is what's taken over.
Right. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
Love it. Great advice. Thank you.
Yeah, I understand. Yeah, because I'm a kind of a half on that plotter pantser spectrum. I'm about halfway in the somewhere in the middle, because I don't like to box myself in. I like to keep myself open for those things that come as you write it. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, so I get it. Yeah, I definitely get it.
Well, with an ADD brain, it's very hard to stay on a linear set guideline. It's very hard for my brain to do that, because once I'm writing, I go off in this. Oh, I got this idea. Oh, I can do this. And like you said, get those bullet points down, and then you go from there. You don't get too far off in left field, but you let your your subconscious and those characters speak to you.
Yeah, because if you don't get back on the highway, eventually you're going to get lost.
Yeah, you're going to derail. So, that train's going to go down the hill.
But I tell you what, it's been great having you on the show tonight, Sheldon. I've really enjoyed our visit and getting to explore your world a little more in detail, and looking forward to all the good things coming your way, because it looks like
we'll keep an eye out for those new releases.
Oh God, yeah,
Just
yeah, he
re-releases.
absolutely will.
Yeah.
And but yeah, I want to thank you. But I'll turn over to Holly to close things out with you. But yeah, definitely don't be a stranger. We'll definitely want to have you back on the show and everything else.
Yeah.
So yeah, we'll be
Yeah.
keeping in touch. Yeah, and maybe come
Appreciate it.
see you in
Thank you.
Pittsburgh. Yeah,
Yeah.
and
Yeah. Let me
hopefully
know.
go to one of your signings. Yeah, maybe we'll time it for the right
Mm.
weekend.
Yeah.
So all right, Holly.
All right.
All right. Well, thank you, Sheldon, and stay warm this weekend, and bunker in, get some good writing in, and
Yeah.
watch some
I'm
good
gonna need to.
shows and all that. So, well, but thank you for being a great guest. Yeah, don't be a stranger, and yeah, we'll keep an eye out for your stuff, and yeah, have a great weekend.
All right. You too. Thanks.
All right, thank you.
Thank
All
you.
right, listeners out there in chat and those who will be listening tomorrow and in the great beyond, out there in listener land. Join us next Wednesday, same place, same time, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard. Another great guest, another great chat for the rest of the week. Stay warm, be creative. Good night, folks.